It was fueled by disinformation. This is the new buzzword of you goofy ass freaking lefty liberal bullshitters, is the word disinformation and misinformation, where it's just information that's inconvenient to you. It's truth, but it's information that's inconvenient to your narrative and to your rhetoric. And this is the kind of shit that, again, continues to harm real victims to this day. Dear feminists, well, I guess just women out there in general, have you ever questioned and wondered and stressed over why it is that when domestic violence and assault allegations are made that people don't just believe you right away? Do you ever wonder why the hashtag #BelieveAllWomen completely failed? Well, it's because of women like Amber Heard. And not only just women like Amber Heard, but the people that continuously support her despite the evidence. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Make sure to hit the like on this video, that thumbs up right there at the bottom. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. We're getting up there in the subscriptions. We're approaching that monetization number. Hopefully by the time you see this, it's already been gotten there. And comment your thoughts as we go along in this video. But as you saw from my wonderfully structured introduction, how about that, big guy? How about that? Amber Heard is still somehow in the news. Why? I don't know. There was not like there's a whole court case that happened that said that she was a lying sack of shit. It's not like there was all this audio that got leaked that said that she was a lying and abusive piece of shit. But for some reason, there are still people out there supporting her. And it's not just a couple people. It's not just one organization. That's right, I'm sure you saw from the title, over 130 different feminist organizations have penned a letter in support of Amber Heard. Why? Because she's got a vagina. And the fact that they're trying to make it seem like she was abused with somebody who didn't have a vagina. Not like I'm assuming the genitals of one Johnny Depp. It is 2022 after all. He could have been like that this whole time, but I'm just going to assume he's got a dick. And because of that, that's why they're really supporting her. But there was a great article written by, I believe it was CBS, if I get my logos correct. There's a lot of stuff that gets written by a lot of people. An open letter in support of Amber Heard, which calls for an end to online harassment, has been signed by more than 130 organizations. The letter condemned the public shaming of the actor. It's actually actress, but I guess we're going super gender neutral now, so sure. But if it was a guy who was transitioning, we would have to say actress, because then it would be insensitive. But it's insensitive to say that a biological woman is an actress because that's sexist and we need to be gender neutral. Some public shaming of the actor during and after her defamation trial with her ex-husband and fellow actor Johnny Depp, which took place in Virginia earlier this year. Why was there shaming and why was there people talking shit about her? Because she lied and tried to sue him for being an abuser. She defamed him. She lied. She made it harder for actual abuse victims to come forward and be believed and have fair and honest trials and fair and honest action take against their abusers. But let's just absolve Miss Amber Heard of all that stuff. Depp accused Heard of defamation for a 2018 op-ed she wrote in which she says she experienced domestic abuse. He sued her for $50 million and Heard then countersued Depp for $50 million. In the end, the jury awarded Heard $2 million and Depp $15 million, which was capped at $10.35 because of female privilege. You're welcome, bitch. The trial received widespread attention on social media and traditional media. Heard and her supporters faced online harassment through the trial. No, they didn't. It's not harassment to call people on their bullshit. It's not harassment to call people out on their lies. It's not harassment to properly fact check people. It's not harassment to show the real evidence that had been out there for years at this point, while people try to gaslight everyone else and pretend like that evidence never existed. The defamation trial deeply concerned many professionals in the fields of intimate partner and sexual violence, the letter states. It should have deeply concerned professionals, actually. And I don't know why this open letter is talking about that. It should deeply concern professionals because of what the damage it does to the people that are real victims who need to come forward and need to be believed in order for them to get the justice that they need and deserve. The letter was signed by dozens of organizations for women and victims of domestic violence, including Equality Now. Isn't that convenient? They were signed to defend Amber Heard, but all these domestic violence organizations aren't signing it to defend Johnny Depp, who lost literally a piece of his finger because of her being domestically abusive. But they'll sign all these domestic abuse things because she's a woman who made an accusation, and despite the evidence that came out, the indisputable evidence, the irrefutable evidence that came out that says that she was abusive towards him and not the other way around, they're still going to take her side. And that is how these organizations work, which is how I know that they're not actually looking out for the best interest of real domestic abuse victims. They're just looking out for women in general and willing to take down men because a lot of them are just run by male-hating feminist losers. Organizations that support human rights of women and girls, and the National Women's Law Center, which advocates for women's and LGBTQ rights, because you can't forget about to advocate for them. You can't forget to advocate for them, which is why I'm saying this right now. If Johnny Depp somehow identified as LGBTQ, then we'd be talking about a completely different story, wouldn't this organization probably? Or they wouldn't have gotten involved at all. They would have been just pretending like it didn't exist. Much of the harassment Heard and her supporters received was fueled by disinformation, misogyny, biphobia, and Hold the fuck on. It was fueled by disinformation? This is the new buzzword of you goofy ass freaking lefty liberal bullshitters, is the word disinformation and misinformation. Where it's just information that's inconvenient to you. It's truth, but it's information that's inconvenient to your narrative and to your rhetoric. And this is the kind of shit that, again, continues to harm real victims to this day. And to claim that the attacks on her were misogyny-based is absolute horseshit, because your actual support of her is a sign of misandry, which is the opposite of misogyny, which is because misogyny is hatred of women, misandry is the hatred of men. It's your misandry. It's your sexism towards men. That's the reason why you're even able to claim that this is disinformation and misogyny. And biphobia? Who the fuck is biphobic towards women? I don't know. How about you Google some porn every once in a while and you tell me how biphobic people are when it comes to women. Fucking goofballs. In a monetized social media environment where a woman's allegations of domestic violence and sexual assault were mocked for entertainment, they were not mocked. It was the lies that were mocked. It was the obvious bullshitting she was doing on the stand. The fake crying into the straight face and the smiles, into the fake crying again. The clear acting that she was doing, that Jussie Smollett level acting in her little diatribes that she was going through, that's what was being mocked. It was also being mocked that they were all pretending, just like you organizations out there were pretending, like this audio and all this evidence and all these hospital bills and all that stuff never existed when it did, and it was all presented in court and you guys just lied about it. You want to talk about disinformation? How about you talk about your own disinformation? One of the signees, Elizabeth Tang, said in a statement that everyone should be able to report abuse without fear of retaliation. They should. But you know what happens? Is that people like Amber Heard report a lie because she's angry at her ex-husband for whatever reason it was, because she's abusive and she was gaslighting everyone because she wanted to take him down. So you should be upset about that stuff. You should be upset that there's an environment that's been created where women and domestic abuse victims are not able to come forward. They don't feel like there's an environment that creates a welcoming world for them to come out with their stories. And that's because of people like Amber Heard. And the fact that you guys continue, ironically again, with the disinformation, to continue to say all this stuff as if Amber Heard wasn't caught in a lie. How are you guys the only ones behind on this? But this is what they do. They pretend like this doesn't exist. They gaslight themselves and in turn gaslight all of you into thinking that these things aren't real. That we don't believe your lying eyes and ears about all the evidence we saw that said that Amber Heard was the lying piece of shit abusive one. No, don't ignore that. Not like she shit on a pillow or anything like that, like a dog, like a disgusting dog. And if a survivor has already reported their abuser can misuse defamation law to force them to recant, punish them for coming forward, or continue the cycle of abuse. Now, how could they punish them by making them recant unless the story wasn't real? Is it because they have all the evidence that says that it wasn't real? Is that why? Just say that you hate men and that you want men to suffer. It's not like you would be the first person that would ever say that on national television, in the public, or in the media. Just be honest about it. You wanted Johnny Depp to fry because he's a guy. And then when Amber Heard completely blew her own case by being a liar and being so blatant about it, now you're just doing all this, running all this cover for her. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I feel so terribly out there for actual victims of abuse because of people like Amber Heard and the people out here that continue to support her blindly, that continue to lie, that continue to ironically misinform and disinform you and disinform the public, make it more difficult for you. that's all I got. That's all I gotta say. The Amber Heard story's been done to death. I just felt like this was incredibly disingenuous and dishonest and spiteful and insidious of these organizations to come out and do this kind of thing. But, subscribe to this channel for more content that's going to be coming out. Leave your thoughts in the comment section about what you think of this story and these organizations. And thumbs up the video. That's what really helps with the algorithms. And I greatly appreciate you guys. And I got some videos here and a video there. And the subscription things right there. All super easy for you to navigate. Try to make it easy for you guys. I'll see you next time. So triggered. Peace.